Alright guys, welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 23rd of September 2019. The time is 9:41 AM GMT time. So we're going to do a quick overview of EURJPY. I actually did a previous video to this one which was very good, but unfortunately I had the flipping audio, or not the audio, the microphone muted. So I'm rambling on for about 25 minutes and unfortunately I've just, I've played it back and there's nothing there. So I'm a little bit irritated because I put a lot of information in that video and I'm going to have to go through it all again. And unfortunately, when you're in the flow of things, there was a lot of information that just kind of ran off, from the top of my mind. So I'm going to try my best to kind of incorporate all of that back into this video. But just as a quick overview, you can see what I've done is I've cleared up. So there was a level up here that I had noted, and there was a level across here that I had noted that came all the way across. Okay, and I've taken those off. I've cleaned up the 4-hour chart as well with some other things, and I've noted this level here, which is where I don't want price to go back through. Okay, so this is the level here now, and if price comes back up here, I don't really want to see price go above that level. But I do believe now that we are back in full swing. There are levels on the downside that we have to pay very close attention to. The reason I've left this one here, okay, is because now if price comes back down here, this level it needs to cleanly go through, and it needs to get through 117.35, right, to continue on its downward move towards the 114.85, which is where we believe price is going on the higher time frame. Okay, so bear that in mind. So far on the hourly this week, it's looking like we're potentially going to get, unless something dynamically changes, a Monday high of the week. You can see that prices had a really nice drop today, and it's driving towards this level. But there's a couple of things I want to go over and go into, and what I was discussing in the previous video. So I'm going to try and kind of remember and put it all back in this one. When we're watching price like this, all right, guys, you need to understand, and you need to be very careful, okay? Because a lot of the things that I talk about and go through, it's very easy to take them and just say, well, I'm going to use that going forward, and I should be okay. I'll give you a very good example of what I'm talking about. When you see this candle right here, okay, you see this nice drop, it reverses nicely, and then it starts to grind higher. Okay, so you'd be forgiven for thinking at the time when you're looking at price at this moment. Forget all of this. Okay, we're talking about right there in that moment. You're looking at price and you're saying, oh, there's a liquidity pool up here, there's an imbalance up here. I think price is going to continue going higher to take out this level, so I'm going to potentially look to take a long into this level, and obviously you can see it proceeds to go down. You don't get it, then it goes all the way back up just to take out this high, doesn't take out this high, and then starts to reverse again, accelerates, and then bang, right? Well, hang on a second. If we're getting very nice rejection here, okay, and it starts to grind higher, then why doesn't it take out this high? Yeah. And again, this is the reason I'm going over this now is because I want you guys to understand it's simply not enough to just take rejection at face value and say, yep, I'm going to open a trade, right? So when you're looking at price this way, you've got to understand just everything, the whole picture, from the weekly to the daily to the 4-hour, and you need to understand the mechanics of the way price moves. Okay. Now, again, in this example, it's very easy to think and to be forgiven for thinking that price is going to go up here and take this out, but it simply doesn't do that. But there are a couple of things. Number one, the whole structure of price, the way that it's moving towards that level right here before that happens, okay? And then when that happens, you have to take into consideration the whole picture. The other thing is, as price comes down here, okay, it doesn't take out the liquidity pool down here, and it doesn't rebalance price, right? It stops way short of that, yeah? 210 pips away from that, okay, and then starts to grind higher, okay? So it doesn't take out a liquidity pool, okay? So because price doesn't come down here and take out this liquidity pool, right, it doesn't need to go back up and take out an opposing liquidity pool to offload that position. But hang on a second. If that's the case, why, as an example, I'll drop down to the daily. If that's the case, why, as an example, and I think I'm looking at the wrong chart here. Yeah, I am. So I was looking at the 4-hour. If that's the case, so what I'm basically saying is this. If price needs to take out a liquidity pool, reject, okay, for it then to take out an opposing liquidity pool, why doesn't it happen here? And what I'm trying to illustrate and I'm trying to really get across is do not take the things that I'm saying and just go with them. we need to study price over a long period of time to understand the complete picture. So to really clear up what I'm saying, as an example, you see this move down here, takes out the liquidity pool, hits this level, beautiful rejection, and then it takes out the high here and the high here beautifully, right? Very, very easy trade to take there. Very, very simple, easy to understand. When you're tracking price this way, it's very easy to take a trade like that, okay? So that's the first one. So it takes out this level and it takes out an opposing level. Okay, great. So why doesn't that happen all the time? Why is price now likely to come all the way down here and take out this level, even though it hasn't taken out an opposing level? Yeah? You have to understand rebalancing. You have to understand failures. You have to understand why price does what it does, and you have to understand the relationship between the higher time frames and the lower time frames. The lower time frames are the time frames that we use to confirm higher time frame buyers, higher time frame, higher time frame directional buyers. Okay, it's not enough to just say, oh, there's a beautiful candle right there, or going back to the example of the weekly, there's a very, very nice candle here, I think price is going higher. There's a beautiful candle here, I think price is going higher. This is an even much cleaner example, okay, of what I'm talking about. You get such a nice drop, such a beautiful rejection away from that, and it doesn't even muster up enough, enough push to get anywhere near, okay, the closest level of liquidity. It just kind of grinds, and then it's just slowly grinding low, kind of driving towards that 114.85 level. Yeah. So again, don't just take rejection. Don't just take these big candles and say, yep, price is likely to do that. There is the whole picture. You have to understand where you've come from, where you are, and where price is likely to go based on everything. Yeah. So again, now that we're grinding lower, you see the failure swing up here. It's complete rebalancing of price. Price is coming lower. It's gone through this level. It's activated the order flow shift, which you can see clearly on the daily. So there's your order flow shift right there, okay? And an order flow shift, this is very, very important because a lot of people don't understand this. I've had emails about this because everybody thinks, and I'm going to say this right now, everybody thinks that I am just copying, everybody thinks that I'm just copying or rehashing something that is taught, okay, in the trading industry by a certain person or certain two people actually, and that's simply not the case. That's not what we're doing, okay? You do not need to see price go up, take out a high, then come back through that level and activate it or confirm it as an order flow shift. Okay, that's not what an order flow shift is. An order flow shift is a moment in time where price has shifted flows, and it happens regardless of whether a liquidity pool is taken or regardless of whether rebalancing has been taken. And it's based on the relationship between the higher time frames and the lower time frames. I am hoping over time that this will become clearer as we continue to study EURJPY. There are some things that I'm simply not going to go through for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's some realizations that I've come to on my own. It's taken me a very long time to come to those realizations. And on the flip side of that, there are some things that I've been taught that I'm not going to teach because they're not mine to give. Okay, I'm a very honest, open person, and there are certain things that simply do not belong to me. Okay. And that's both recently with some people that I've worked with, and that's both in the past with some people that I've worked with back in the 90s. Okay, so I have to be. It's not that I have to be careful. I have to be respectful, okay, of other people's, property, and I have to be respectful of other people's opinions and ideas, and navigate my way around presenting this information in a way that makes the most sense. The main reason why I'm on the forum and I'm doing these updates and I'm doing these reviews and I'm going through this entire process on EURJPY is because there's a massive frustration on my part of over the years. There are so many people that teach, trading over and over again, but yet the failure rate is so high. And it angers me because there's no reason for the failure rate for trading to be so high. Now, maybe it's not. Maybe this fallacy, this idea, this false understanding, that 95% of all traders lose, and so on and so on. We've all heard this jargon, this verbal diarrhea that gets spouted out constantly over and over again to a lot of different people. 95% of all traders lose. Hardly anybody makes money in the trading industry. The market's manipulated. Blah 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 blah. Well, how do we know that 95% of traders don't? How do we know that it's not 95% of traders make money and 5% of traders lose? I mean, obviously, logically, that doesn't make sense, but nobody really knows. Nobody really knows what the numbers are. But all I know is this. I studied for years, and I've done lots of different courses along the way. I've worked with lots of traders personally, and I've worked with lots of good traders that I can verify personally that make money on a consistent basis, okay? Even people that I know in the city of London, that I can go to their office right now, and I know these people. They make money consistently on a weekly, monthly, and a yearly basis, okay? They lose money, obviously. They have losing trades, but they make money consistently. So at the end of the day, why is it then that when these people, or when these educators, or the people that I've met over the years try to teach trading to other people, they fail? The success rate is so low. Why is the success rate so low? Recently, there was in the last sort of 2 to 3 years, there's been a service that's been provided by, a certain person, and loads of people have gone through that service. A lot of good information in there, so on and so on, and yet the failure rate is incredibly low. Incredibly low. I can attest to this personally. So many people, in that service contacted me personally, only because I put myself out there, not because I'm special in any way. I made an effort, basically. I made an effort. So a lot of people said, oh, you seem like you know what you're doing, da-da-da-da. Tell me this, tell me that, tell me. And I'm like, dude, you've been doing this for like a year and a half. How can you not see what's going on, But they just don't. And I had this back and forth with a lot of traders. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 or 10 traders. I'm talking about a lot of traders. So why is the failure rate so high? It angers me. So I just want to present information in a way where people can look at it and say, do you know what? That actually makes sense. It makes sense, and it's something that I can use going forward. It's not a gimmick. It's not a magic trick. It's not me caressing my ego. It's not me trying to make myself better than anybody else. It's not me trying to drum up business for my service. It's nothing like that at all. It's a simple, wow, I never thought about price that way. I never noticed that small nuance. I never saw the big picture. Yeah. If nothing else, if everybody that's watching this pays more attention to the weekly and the daily chart and stays away from every other time frame, your trading is going to improve anyway, because it teaches you patience. You have to wait for price to unfold. You can't just do whatever the hell you want at any given moment in time. You have to wait. You've got to be patient. So if nothing else, if you don't gain anything else from this, stay on the higher time frames. So, I know I went off on a little bit of a rant there, guys, and I do apologize. But like I said, I want you guys to understand I'm very passionate about what I'm doing, okay? And I really believe in this study that we're doing. And I want you guys to also understand and to get into the process and to see what it is that I'm seeing on the charts, okay? It's not enough to just mark a bunch of levels and say, well, there was a great opportunity here. All right? Yeah, there was a fantastic opportunity here on Euro. And if you remember, because, and this is the most important part, I don't have to do this, guys. I'm doing this because I care and I really want traders to get this. All right? If you remember, I've gone through the process from the beginning on EURJPY. We started when price, I'll just zoom in one more. We started when price was here on this candle. So that candle was already there, and we sat through all of this. We've sat through this, and we've sat through this, okay? Now, going through that process, did I or did I not explain at the time? Okay, and if you remember, it was actually the daily. I noted these levels on the daily because the lines were blue, whereas on the 4 hour they show up like this, the dotted line. But we went through this process. Price is doing its thing. We get this beautiful drop down here. I noted the stop run. I noted the rebalancing. Price respects that. And I was saying these levels up here likely to be taken. Price goes up once, second time to take out the second high. Now it starts to grind lower. We're going through this process together. Yeah, we can't look back and say it never happened. We're going through this process together. Please, I'm begging you, pay attention. Pay attention and you will really, really start to see what it is that I'm trying to show you. I don't need to point this stuff out. I don't need to explain it in a way, that's mine or somebody else's. I don't need to try and be clever with the way that I explain it or, the use of words. I don't need to do any of that stuff. Just watch price. Watch price and you will see it, okay? But remember, and I really have to emphasize this, obviously everything that we're doing is for study. Don't just take things that I say at face value and just immediately go and jump into trades. You're going to get yourselves into a world of trouble and you are going to lose money, okay? This is a study that we're doing on EURJPY, and my hope is as the months and the years go by, if it lasts that long, you guys will have a much better understanding of EURJPY. There are also things that I do in the background, okay, that you are not aware of. For example, I do study the relationship between the euro, JPY, gold with JPY, Pay attention to the Nikkei index to see the strength or the relative strength or weakness on the Japanese currency. I pay attention to pound Japanese yen, which is one of my favorite go-to crossers for a whole host of different information on a lot of different market dynamics in the forex market. Okay, so important. EURJPY is one of the staples when you're looking at the forex market. So I pay a lot of attention to not EURJPY, sorry, pound JPY. I pay a lot of attention to pound JPY. It's such a good pair to watch. So obviously I factor all of this stuff in, and the euro index as well. I keep an eye on that. I'm obviously watching the dollar index. I'm looking at a whole host of different things. So obviously it's not just, well, I think price is going down to this lower level liquidity pull down here and that's it. Okay, there's a lot of factors, but that's because I like to be thorough. I like to pay attention to these things. It doesn't mean that you also have to, 1 second, duplicating the lines. It doesn't mean, basically liquidity has been taken, so I'm taking those off. It doesn't mean that you have to do all of this stuff as well, or that you need to understand all of this stuff. You can just watch price on EURJPY, and you will still get a very good indication of where price is going and what it's been doing. So right now on the daily, we can see we're coming up into a level where it makes sense. Price is going to drive down there, take this liquidity pool out, and come into the 117.35. I want to see price come through this convincingly, nicely now. Okay, so it can continue its downward pressure towards that 114.85 level. Okay, but right now we're coming into a level where it makes sense. Price is going to stop. Okay, because we've had an order flow shift down here, we had an order flow shift down, up here. If price ripped to the upside and hits this level or hit this level, okay, I'd be very interested in seeing what happens at this level. I'll just say it like that. Okay, it's very unlikely it's going to happen, but I'll just say it like that. What I also want to make note of, there's a certain something that's taught in the industry, okay, and I am not just rehashing that. Okay, the order flow shift is very specific. Okay, very, very specific. It's took a very long time for me to understand where the shift in flows are. It's not enough to just say price came up, takes out the high, reverses, goes through the origin, and then as price comes back up into that level, that's where price should stop. Okay, that's not what we're doing here. So when you look at price like this, yeah, you can see price hasn't taken out this high, and yet this is still an order flow shift. Why? Yeah, there's a lot of variables involved, right? The order flow shift down here is different. You can see that price came up, came down, takes out the low, comes back through it. We get the order flow shift on this candle here, confirmation on this candle here, okay, and then it's respected on the way down, but it takes out the low in this example. So don't just take things at face value and say, yep, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. Okay, and again, I apologize that I'm ranting a little bit and going on a little bit, but I'm sure you guys can feel my passion. I absolutely love talking about this stuff. I could do this forever, yeah, all day long, all day long. As long as the markets are going to be around, I could talk about the industry, the forex market, the stocks, everything. I could talk about this forever. I absolutely love this stuff, and obviously, I love that moment where people can say, man, do you know what? I really understand. That's really hit home. I really get that. So going forward, just to kind of re-emphasize, we do believe, and I do believe 114.85 is still in play. We want to see it below this 117.35 level now. Okay, we've had the order flow shift on the daily up here. All right, we've come into a level where price should respect. Okay, but we've moved enough away from this level now to respect this. Please bear in mind as well, there's a lot of news coming out this week. Got a lot of speakers, a lot of news, a lot of volatility. So it is very, very likely that we're going to get some crazy price action this week. I don't know which direction price is going to pull into, but what I do know is that the high time frame draw on price for me is still down here. So all of this noise in between doesn't bother me. I want to see confirmation that that is indeed the case. And this is why we drop down to the low time frame so we can see that. Everything in price is still bang on, still showing me that price is and wants to go down to that 114.85 level. We're going to continue to monitor it, obviously, as we are doing, and we'll see what the confirmation is on the 4 hour as this unfolds. And again, as we continue this study on EURJPY together for the months and the years to come, if it lasts that long, you will notice and see a lot of nuances, okay, that you simply did not see before, okay? So please pay attention, all right? So I'll leave it at that, guys. Again, I apologize, forgive me for ranting, but again, a lot of passion there. I really want you guys to, to learn. So I will catch up with you guys in the next update, and I will see you soon. Take care.